Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's edition of The Law and You. I'm your host, Attorney Shellon O Washington, and today I told you guys I said it's going to be a special edition today because today we're going to be discussing a topic which I believe it shouldn't be circulating the way it is circulating, but since it is going around the way it is, we're going to be discussing it today. So today is a special edition of The Law and You. I'm going to be discussing the whole situation about what's going on and the Melly Mel situation and the false information that has been circulating on the Starbrook News. And now I notice other news clipping has picked up the same news, and they're still circulating it. So first off, guys, let me make it clear. I've already put a post on my Facebook page, and I've told you guys I am not representing Melissa Atwell in her current case with ICE. So I want to make that clear to the public. So anybody who's spreading this information, this misinformation, I want to correct that for you and let you know that I am not representing her. Having said that, I just want you guys to know that, my support, my prayers, and everything is with her, with what she's going through. But I want to point out a few things to you guys so you guys will understand what's happening. I know a lot of people have been saying the guy in the government is involved, but I do not believe the guy in the government is involved in any of this. I'm not a political person, guys. I don't take sides politically. I'm basically neutral. So I want to point out a few things today to help you guys understand what is going on. One of the things that is actually true is she is detained in Louisiana. It's an ICE facility in Louisiana. So that part of it is true. But as it regards to me, so let me make it clear, guys, the only thing I've represented Melissa Atwell on, it's a civil case that is currently pending before the Eastern District Court. And taking into consideration what is happening now, that case might be in jeopardy of me having to discontinue it just because of what is happening right now. That is a defamation case which was sued, and the information, the record is public, so I can talk about it. But anything that is non-public, even if I have knowledge of it, guys, as it relates to her arrest, I'm not at liberty to tell anybody about that situation. I'm not authorized to speak on behalf of her. I'm not her attorney, and I'm not a criminal lawyer. I'm a civil attorney. I bring lawsuits against people in civil cases. I represent people in immigration cases to some extent, but I'm not the attorney who will be representing Ms. Atwell in the current situation that she's in. Now, having said that, I want to bring to your attention right now, there's several things that are happening in the United States in terms of people being deported or being placed in what we call removal proceeding. Removal proceedings is simply something that happens that if somebody violates the laws of the United States, a lot of times what happens, you end up being placed in removal proceedings and being sent back to your country of origin. Now, the removal proceedings, it only happens, like, say, if people violated the immigration law in terms of being present in the United States without authorization, you commit a crime, or you even violate the terms of a green card, a work permit, or something of that nature. Or even if your documents are given to you based on something that was incorrect on those paperwork, they're taking actions against a lot of those people right now. And the government has been initiating different proceedings, removal proceedings against people. Now, it's nothing to be concerned about. One of the things you need to know is that Louisiana is a notorious state that when you're placed there, they said there's a rate of over 91% people who ends up going there and being placed in removal proceedings. They're usually sent back to their country either by voluntary departure or either they're the government succeed in getting them removed from the United States. So it's notorious for that. It's not one of the states you want to be caught in. And recently, a lot of people who've been picked up by ICE in New York, New Jersey, they tend to be sending some of them all the way over to Louisiana. And in Louisiana, just note that you have no access to your attorney. It's difficult for the attorneys to speak to you. It's difficult for anybody to be in contact with you if you're placed in removal proceedings in Louisiana. Now, there is a situation with an activist, a well-known activist, which, his situation kind of reminds me of what is happening with our sister, Melissa Atwell. I know a lot of you are supporting her. A lot of you are coming out and you're being vocal about it and you're showing your support, which is good. I want people to support her. I want people to be on her side, but just know that there's a lot that's happening. And I want you to take a look at this article here, right here. I'm gonna show it to you. Take a look at it. For those of you who are not familiar with it, go try to read up on this situation that is happening, and know that it's something similar that we're experiencing right now with the situation with Melissa Atwell. But it's nothing that you and I could actually get involved in. We just have to sit on the sideline and watch as it it unfolds itself. She has to get the right representation, the right people to be on her side to represent her. And if you notice, this is an article this is an activist. He was taken into custody by ICE. He lives in New Jersey. He was taken into custody by ICE and he was transported to Louisiana, ICE detention facility. He was taken there. While he was arrested, and same thing, around the same time that Miss Atwell was arrested, he was also arrested around the same exact time. And they took them to Louisiana and they were placed in custody. Now, his attorneys, all of his attorneys are here in New York and in New Jersey. None of his attorneys are in Louisiana. So in Louisiana, there is a situation when you go approach the federal court, because a lot of times when a person is detained and they're placed in the removal proceedings, what could happen is your attorney could file a writ of habeas corpus asking for the government to release you from their custody if they believe that the government has no basis for holding you. Or the attorney could make a bond application. But unfortunately, if your attorney is in New Jersey or New York and you're all the way in Louisiana, they can't approach the federal court in Louisiana. You have to find an attorney out there in Louisiana and have that attorney file that for you. In the case of this activist, his attorneys here in New York did approach the court and they filed an application that his case is transferred back to New Jersey because he was arrested in New Jersey. His family lives in New Jersey, and every connection as it relates to his arrest is in New Jersey. He has no contact with Louisiana. And, as you can see here from this article, the court granted the application and ordered that he be transferred back to New Jersey. And his case is likely to be in New Jersey. You understand? And, this is something that has been happening under the Trump administration, where a lot of people are being detained and they're being taken away from their point of contact with their family, with their friends, their attorney, and their attorneys are taking steps to file an application to have that person sent back. Now, there's something else I would like to bring to your attention, which the government has said. And people need to be very careful, especially all those people who are activists. I don't mean to scare anybody. I don't mean to drive the fear of God in anybody. But if you're a political activist in this time, you have to be extremely careful because your days could be numbered, literally. And this goes to people who are not United States citizens. You're borderline on a green card or you're on a work permit. Because as you can see, that activist who was arrested and taken into Louisiana, he had a green card. He was married to a U.S. citizen. And the government is saying that they're in the process of revoking his green card and deporting him back to where he is to his home country. So I think this is relevant because a lot of people need to understand that the government is not playing. They're taking these things really, really serious. And if you get caught in this kind of situation, chances are you're going to end up back to your home country if you don't abide by the rules in the country. Okay. Now, I have to get to the article to show you where Rubio made this remark. He stated that, they're going to continue. And a lot of these activists is because they don't want to have bad relationship with those foreign countries. They don't want to, cause any friction between the relationship between the United States and those countries. So this is why in certain instances, they're taking, steps to deport or put people in removal proceedings who are political activists. And, obviously it has to be a case where you're not straight, your record is not right, and you're doing a lot of things that is offending the government in a foreign country. That's why we have, you have to be careful. I did remember, because I know a lot of people are coming out now and they're saying this is political, but it's not necessarily true. You don't want to just jump into this, jump on the bandwagon with all the people that are accusing and saying the government is responsible. But I mean, to an extent, people are making that conclusion, because if the United States is saying that they don't want to have a fractured relationship with the foreign country in question, then to an extent, yes, it has to do with the government. But to a larger extent, it's probably not, because if the government does not to do with the actual government, but it has everything to do with whoever it is that is dealing with the U.S., dealing directly with the U.S. government, and the U.S. government reason or rationale for putting a person into removal proceedings. Obviously, we stand behind Ms. Atwell. We're all praying for her. We're all hoping for the best. But as you know, if a motion isn't filed, if actions aren't taken soon enough to remove her from Louisiana and bring her back to New York, then that case is likely to be left right there in Louisiana. And if it's left in Louisiana, then the only thing that could happen is the removal proceeding is going to continue there. Unless a motion is filed, like I said, like that activist attorneys rightfully did. They file a motion to remove the proceedings here to New Jersey, because the activist he lived in New Jersey. His wife is in New Jersey. His life was in New Jersey. He had no connection whatsoever with Louisiana. So for him to stay there and to have a trial in a notorious jurisdiction that is known for deportation, the laws is very arcane and they're very strict up there, then, you're looking at a situation where it's very, very bleak, versus if your attorney just file a motion to remove the proceedings back to New York, where you can, because everyone knows New York is a sanctuary state. We know that New Jersey is a sanctuary state. So if your proceedings are left in those jurisdictions, your chances of staying in the United States is greater. But if it remains in Louisiana, then I'm not sure what to tell you guys, but you can look up the news article yourself. It's in the CBS News, where Rubio made the comment about deportation of those activists and people who are likely to cause fractured relationship between the United States and those countries. So you guys can look it up for yourself, and people should be put on notice. And just all those political activists need to be put on notice that if you continue to do activism job, make sure that what you're doing, you're within the parameters of the law, because as you can see with that activist, his attorneys argued that, to silence him is to violate his Fifth Amendment rights. To violate his rights to free speech. He must have the ability to make his, speak freely about things happening without the risk of being deported, the risk of being detained, the risk of being silenced. And in this instance, we are saying, a lot of people are saying that, okay, she's being silent because she's speaking up against the Guyanese government. She's being silent because she's exposing things that is happening. But guys, I can't tell you whether that is true or not in light of what Rubio said. and in light of other activists, other political activists being detained by the United States government by ICE and being taken all the way out to Louisiana. We cannot speculate, and I wish the public, I wish people in Guyana will stop speculating and drawing conclusions about what is happening. Guys, like I said, I am not political. I do not take sides politically. I don't want to. But in this case, I want to make it clear that people need to do some research, look into this yourself, read for yourself before you jump to a conclusion that is likely to lead you into some sort of confusion or down a rabbit hole where you're just spewing information that is incorrect. And I wanted to do this to address this entire issue because I saw Stabrook News corrected the news article where they claim that I made representation, that I'm representing Melissa Atwell, when I never spoke to Stabrook News. There's no one at Stabrook News. They did call the office when I wasn't there a couple of times, but no one in my office provided any information to them. And I myself did not have an opportunity to speak with anyone. The only person I spoke with is someone from Demerara Wave. And I immediately told him, like, listen, I'm not representing Ms. Atwell. I have nothing to do with that case. So don't write any article. Don't do anything making any allegations that I am, because I am not. And then I noticed, there's another, I don't know, the source of that news article is, I believe it's referred to as Crown Me or something of that nature. They picked up the Stabrook News article and they're now spewing the false information. But since I don't know who's in control of that, I'm hoping that somebody will get to them and make them correct that false information and put, truthful information out there. As far as I know, Ms. Atwell's husband is handling this situation with an attorney he probably retained, and this has nothing to do with us. The only thing we can do as the public is pray for her and hope for the best, and hope that whoever is representing her will take steps quickly to file that motion, bring that case back to New York, because that's where we ideally want that case to be, and not in a state where we know that it's notorious for deporting people back to their country of origin, or in some cases, like I said, those people take voluntary departure. Now, this is not to scare the public. I don't want people to get scared and say, oh, ICE is just picking people up. And, because there's a lot of people here from other countries. Some of them have a work permit, but they don't have a green card. Some of them, their status, they're waiting for their status to be changed or whatever. I would say to you, if you're in this country and you're trying to get your status of justice, just stay under the radar, okay? Stay under the radar. If you know that you don't have a U.S. citizenship, don't go being a political activist at this time in your life. If you don't want to be caught up in a bad situation, don't go being a political activist. You don't want to be a martyr right now. Just stay under the radar, wait for your papers to be processed. I know a lot of people are concerned now that they don't want to overstay their time. I mean, that's good for you. I would not encourage anybody specifically to overstay your time in the United States, because as we know, that prior to 2000, I believe 2005, there was a law that if you overstayed your time, you were subject to a penalty. You were subject to a ban from the United States, and you couldn't come even if you married to American citizen. But that law was changed. And when you're married to a U.S. citizen, if you overstayed your time, the situation was, it was forgiven. There was no penalty. You automatically waived that restriction, that ban from being present in the United States for that 10-year period if you overstayed your time based on the time you overstayed or whatever the situation is. But, things changes quickly. One thing about immigration law that people need to know, it changes very quickly. It's more dynamic than static. So ideally, if you could avoid it, you avoid it. If you can't avoid it and you're already here, you already overstayed your time, you're trying to get yourself adjusted, you married to a United States citizen and you're just waiting on your status to change, you better stay under the radar in light of what Rubio said. In light of what Rubio said to the public, stay under the radar. Look at the CBS article. Go and read it for yourself and see what he's saying as regards to what the government intend to do. And if you find that this situation may apply to you, because you're a political activist and you're present in this country, doing activist work on behalf of your country, on behalf of whatever you're doing this activist work on behalf. Just be careful. Stay under the radar at all costs. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to be caught up. Look at this. This is the article from the CBS News. It says Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He said on Saturday, this is the comment, this is when he made reference to the situation with Mahmoud Khalid, the activist, right, who was detained by ICE and taken to Louisiana. He said here, look what he said. He said they'll be revoking. Look at the last line of the article. He said after the arrest, the administration would be revoking the visa and the green card of Hamas supporters in America so that they can be deported. There's another statement he made regarding fracturing the relationship with foreign countries. So it's not just this situation with the Hamas and any support for them, but it's also a situation where there's likely to be having the person present here in the United States is likely to cause fractured relationship with that foreign country because of what the activists might be doing to antagonize the foreign government. I mean, if you're going to be doing activism, make sure your statements are truthful. Make sure that you have credible sources that could validate the truthfulness of those of your statements, so that if a situation like this arises, you're going to be safe. You're going to be safe. There's no issue for the U.S. government to say that the work that you're doing is interfering with any foreign policy, interfering with their dealings with that foreign country. And as you know, Guyana has oil. Okay? Guyana has oil. And because of the presence of the oil in Guyana, people need to take a lot of things into account, take it into consideration that, U.S. have a very good relationship with Guyana and the government of Guyana because of the presence of oil. If Guyana had no oil, no one cares about us. No one knew we existed prior to the oil being discovered. Now Guyana is on the map everywhere. Everyone knows who we are. Okay. So guys, just note all these political activists, make sure you have a U.S. certificate of naturalization, or maybe you were born in the United States and then you went back to Guyana, spent a few years, and then you came back here and you decided to be a political activist. But if you don't have that certificate of naturalization, I would say don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth the risk until you are a naturalized United States citizen. Okay, but just note, don't go telling everyone, oh, we believe the Guyana government is behind this. We believe so. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. But we just know that activists have been arrested, not just one, more than one of them. The government have been rounding them up. I don't know if she was one of them. I don't know who were on the list, but whatever the list is, just please note, just please be warned, all the Guyana activists who are political activists, I want you guys to be safe. I want you guys to keep doing your work, but not at the expense of putting yourself where you're going to be in a detention center with no representation, or maybe the funds to go file a motion. In this case with Khalid, at least he had attorneys. I don't know how is he supported, but the attorneys went straight forward. They filed a motion to remove the case back to New Jersey out of Louisiana. In this case, our sister don't have anybody filing a motion to remove her case back to New York. So her case is still, as far as I know, it's probably still in Louisiana. If it was in New York, I'm pretty sure we would have known by now that the case has been removed back to New York, because New York is her residence, or New Jersey, whichever one. And her family is present in the Northeast, and therefore the case should be transferred back either New York or New Jersey, whichever one of those countries or state is her home jurisdiction. Okay, so guys, I hope this was helpful. I don't intend to say much more on the topic, and I hope that this whole issue will just have a natural death and people will continue to support her and hope for the best. And keep your fingers crossed. Like I said, Louisiana is notorious. So I plead with whoever is helping her, or whoever is taking care of that case, that they might take the right steps and file that motion, get that case removed back to New York, so that at least some of the fans, her supporters, they can be at much more ease, because I know a lot of people don't want her to go back to Ghana, because we keep hearing about the $10 million defamation suit that the Ghana government or the Attorney General has filed against her. So, okay, guys, I hope this provides you with adequate information. If you had any questions, you could have typed it here during this live. Other than this, I hope not to be saying anything further on the issue. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Share the live, share the live. And again, every single edition of The Law and You is brought to you by my firm, Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. The phone number is right there on the screen to call. I think the phone number is a little bit off, but the phone number is 718-877-3100. That's the correct number to call. If you are in need of legal consultation, just give me a call at 718-877-3100. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And I do hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you again next Saturday. I know last Saturday I was out and about, so I didn't get to do my live, but I guarantee you guys next Saturday I'll be here to provide you another edition of The Law. And you stay safe, guys. And those of you who need to get your status adjusted, give me a call. Monday morning, obviously, I'm not in office over the weekend. We're there Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Thank you, guys. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you next week again.